I'm going to start with the most important question up front, and it's going to be for you, sir. Will you be contributing more weird noises to Knives Out 3, or could Detective Hard Rock make an appearance?
This is TBD. I don't know the answer, but if we continue our streak, I'll appear in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. Now an individual question for you, sir. I am a huge fan of Tremors, the first film. And when did you realize that film, because it's really stood the test of time, when did you realize, wait a minute, this could be more than like some B movie where like it resonates with a lot of people?
It took me a while because, what people forget about that movie is that when it came out, it was a bomb. There was no, they had a very tough time figuring out how to market comedy horror. And it's still a tough thing to market. People weren't that really into that, me fighting underground worms, but it was discovered by, the Blockbuster gang, and it just could not stay on the shelves at Blockbuster. And so eventually, over the course of time, people...
Kids, Blockbuster Video
oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
was a brick-and-mortar establishment where you would go and rent movies in physical form.
That's right. I forgot to clarify what I was talking about. There's a big plastic box that you shoved into this machine.
And you needed to rewind or you got penalized.
Be kind, rewind.
Yeah, be kind, rewind, yeah.
I was at the premiere last night, and one of the, you played the bad guy in the film, and one of the reasons you did a great job is when something bad happens to your character, the entire audience...
Pretty much the worst thing that can happen to a character.
But the whole audience was clapping.
At the hands of who?
Yeah, hey.
But were you there last night? I don't know.
I was, yeah. I did. I feel like I did my job. If they clap when I go down, that's what I was there for.
One of the things that one of my favorite scenes in the movie involves your character, and it's when you're first meeting Eddie in the police station, and it's when he's trying to get under your skin, and you're basically acknowledging what you could do in the 80s does not work today. Mm-hmm. Can you sort of talk about the film does a great job at sort of pointing out how much things have changed?
Yeah, that was always my hope for this sidekick character, was to not be the old-fashioned sidekick who's sort of just a mini version of the hero, but who could kind of go toe-to-toe with him. And the thing about Axel Foley is he can trick you. He can manipulate you, he can play on your insecurities to get you to do what he needs you to do to solve his case. And I wanted a character who was like, oh no, you can't trick me. I see through you. And what's nice about that also is if there's a character who can see through Axel Foley, that means he's probably pretty sensitive. He's probably sort of emotionally intelligent or empathetic. And I like the idea of an action cop hero guy who's empathetic. That felt like a sort of a fresh version of the character to introduce to the genre.
One of the things that's also so, for me, was I was so surprised is all the shit you guys did in Los Angeles. Nothing is filmed in LA anymore. And there's that massive action set piece just down the street from here.
Yeah.
So
we closed down Wilshire.
Yeah, again, I know.
You're in Angelino and you hear that you closed down Wilshire, really?
Yeah.
What was it like actually filming that sequence and also just filming in LA, which again, no one is doing?
Yeah, great. I mean, sure. Yeah.
Got to stay home with my family. That was nice.
Well, can you talk specifically about filming that sequence on Wilshire?
Yeah, well, this was the helicopter chase scene, which is one of my favorites in the movie. I was not flying the helicopter, to be perfectly honest. But actually, one of the coolest things about that scene is there was a guy who really did fly a helicopter and did those stunts. As I'm sure you will know, a lot of the big action movies nowadays, it's all CGI, it's all digital animation, there's nothing really happening there. This guy flew this helicopter off a building, made it fall sideways, came close to the street, barely missed a bus. He did all that stuff, and we just photographed it. And I think you can feel that realness when you watch it.
Oh no, 100%. One of the things I loved is the practical nature of this film. Mm. Even the beginning with the trucks going through all the cars. I'm like, who the fuck does this anymore?
Yeah.
And sorry for my cursing. So one of the other things, I'm a huge fan of Eddie Murphy, just like the two of you. What, if anything, surprised you about collaborating with him that perhaps you weren't expecting?
One of the things I think goes underappreciated about Eddie is he's actually a very earnest actor. As funny as he is, even when he's doing his big bombastic characters, even when he's, behind prosthetic makeup in Nutty Professor or Coming to America or whatever it is, part of what's so charming about those performances is that he still feels like a real person. And that was counterintuitive. I didn't expect how much he emphasized, let's make sure we all still feel real. He wasn't reaching for the laughs. He was making sure it was all honest and then letting the laughs come naturally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Eddie is a very, very relaxed actor, very loose and very present. He really listens and really watches. And if you see a lot of his humor is about keeping his eye on somebody and focusing on something with somebody that he's working with. And it's very disarming, and it's good for me because I'm a very rehearsed kind of person, I think a lot about it. I make a lot of really big decisions before I get onto the set, and I think that it's good to be with somebody that's just kind of in the flow.
Something that I'm really looking forward to is Maxine. I believe that...
Also shot in L.A., by the way.
Which, again, let's keep talking about L.A. What can you tease about being part of that film?
Listen, I love Ty's movies, and I have a... you won't be surprised to hear that I'm a bad guy in Maxine, but he could not be more different than the guy in Beverly Hills Cop. And that's what I'm just grateful for as an actor, and that I get to do that.
On that note, I really want to say congrats, and I know this is going to be a huge hit on Netflix.
Thanks so much.
No debate.